The restaurant was a world of its own, a place where time seemed to slow down, where the clinking of fine china and the murmur of hushed conversations created a symphony of elegance. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm, golden glow over the room, their light reflecting off the polished surfaces of tables and the delicate stems of wine glasses. I moved through the space like a shadow, invisible to most, just another waitress in a crisp black and white uniform. My job was to blend into the background, to serve without being seen. But tonight, something felt different. There was a tension in the air, a quiet unease that I couldn't quite shake. It started with the man in the corner. He had been there for over an hour, seated at one of the best tables in the house. Dressed in a tailored suit that probably cost more than I made in a year, he exuded an air of entitlement. His cold, calculating eyes followed me as I moved between tables, refilling glasses and taking orders. I had served him earlier, placing his meal in front of him with a polite smile. He hadn't said much, but the way he looked at me, like I was beneath him, made my skin crawl. As the night wore on, he called me over to his table. I approached, my heart pounding in my chest, though I couldn't quite explain why. "Yes, sir?" I asked, keeping my tone polite and professional. He leaned back in his chair, his eyes narrowing as he looked me up and down. "You," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "Do you play the piano?" The question caught me off guard. The restaurant had a grand piano in the corner, a beautiful instrument that was mostly for show. Occasionally, a hired musician would play, filling the room with soft melodies. But tonight, the piano sat silent, its polished surface reflecting the dim light. I hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Yes, sir. I do." His lips curled into a smirk, and I could see the challenge in his eyes. "Good. Play something for us. Let's see if you're as talented as you think you are." The way he said it made my stomach twist. It wasn't a request, it was a dare, a way to humiliate me in front of everyone. I could feel the eyes of the other diners turning toward us, curious and waiting. My heart raced, and for a moment, I considered refusing. But then I thought about the piano, about the way it had always been my escape, my safe haven. I wouldn't let him take that away from me. "Of course, sir," I said, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. I walked over to the piano, my hands trembling slightly as I sat down on the bench. The room fell silent, and for a moment I felt the weight of everyone's expectations pressing down on me. But then I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and let my fingers find the keys. The first notes of Clair de Lune by Debussy filled the room, soft and hauntingly beautiful. The melody flowed like water, each note carrying the emotions I couldn't put into words. I poured my heart into the music, letting it speak for me. The room seemed to disappear, and it was just me and the piano, telling a story of resilience, hope, and strength. As I played, I thought about all the times I had sat at this piano, late at night after my shift, when the restaurant was empty and the world was quiet. I thought about the hours I had spent practicing, the calluses on my fingers, the way the music had always been my refuge. And I thought about the man who had tried to belittle me, who had thought he could diminish me with a smirk and a challenge. But in that moment, I realized that he couldn't take this away from me. This was mine. The music swelled, filling the room with its beauty. I could feel the emotions pouring out of me, each note a testament to my strength and resilience. The diners were silent, captivated by the melody. Even the wealthy man seemed to be holding his breath, his earlier smirk replaced by a look of shock and awe. When I finished, there was a moment of stunned silence. Then slowly, the room erupted into applause. I opened my eyes and saw the diners smiling, some even wiping away tears, but it was the wealthy man's reaction that struck me the most. He sat frozen, his earlier smirk replaced by a look of shock and, dare I say, respect. He didn't clap or say a word, he just stared at me as if seeing me for the first time. I stood up, gave a small nod to the room, and returned to my duties. The man left shortly after, leaving a generous tip on his table. But it wasn't the money that stayed with me. It was the realization that no matter how someone tries to bring you down, your talent, your passion, and your truth will always shine through. That night, as I walked home, I felt a quiet pride. The piano had always been my voice, and tonight it had spoken louder than any words ever could. The streets were quiet, the city bathed in the soft glow of streetlights. I thought about the man, about the way he had looked at me when I finished playing, and I realized that sometimes the greatest victories are the ones that leave you speechless. Hey everyone, if this story moved you, if it made you think, or if it reminded you why we need to keep having these conversations, please take a moment to like this video. It really helps spread awareness. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. Have you ever witnessed or experienced something like this? Let's talk about it. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're here to share real, powerful stories that need to be heard. Lastly, share this with your friends and family. The more people who see this, the more we can bring awareness and change. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey. Let's keep pushing forward, together.